having this conversation, we're about to move into our story here, okay? Because there was recently there was a lot of executive orders signed by one Donald Trump. And hold on just a moment. The like button is lonely and has asked everyone to touch it. Pause. Okay, so if you're listening to the sound of my voice, the like button is lonely. I want you to touch it. Okay, I know that sounds crazy. So before we get into the equal opportunity conversation, the Equal Opportunity Act, rescindment, rollback, whatever you want to call it conversation, before we get there, there was another piece of these executive orders, because Trump signed a lot of stuff these past couple days, but there was two very specific ones that I personally wanted to discuss here on Purge of the BS, okay? The first of which is where I'm going to start, okay? There was a change in what we know to be called birthright citizenship, okay? And I'm going to bring another creator on her video, this lady named Yvette, what's her name? Yvette Carnell. She's pretty big on YouTube. And she's been in this a little longer than me, so she says things a little better than I would. I'm paraphrasing everything at this point because I'm going through so much information, trying to learn so much so quickly just so I can have a conversation with people before the topic is gone and our voices can't be heard at all, right? So, but what I do understand about birthright citizenship and where it started in the 14th Amendment was part of Reconstruction. Reconstruction, for anybody that may not know about it and didn't understand that in history, was the period of time after slavery where there were free black people, but they didn't give them anything when they freed them. So they were kind of out there. Some of them were just trying to survive. And so in a way, as you can imagine, that would be considered unfair. We gave you your freedom, but we didn't give you anything else. We basically just sent you out and said, figure it out, you know? And some people came back to the lands that they were freed from and actually just became employees of the same situation. So here's where we need to really start to have a conversation about the 14th Amendment is the reason why it existed is because of slaves who were brought here against their will, came here for a sole purpose of working at the time, had children. Those children were later freed. And we're talking a couple generations here. And they were considered non-citizens, even though they were freed slaves. So the reason why the 14th Amendment had to exist was only because of slavery and what happened thereafter. And they had to put that into play because at that time, a person who wasn't a citizen couldn't vote. So we didn't have voting rights. We didn't have any rights because we weren't considered citizens. And that changed with the 14th Amendment. So I'm going to let Yvette explain it a little bit more, but I want you to understand that the 14th Amendment and birthright citizenship really was a black thing. It wasn't really intended for anything else at the time when it was drafted. But over time, I believe that it changed. And I think you guys need to let's just give it a minute for her to explain this a little bit. If you haven't seen her, like I said, it's Yvette Carnell out on YouTube. And, I follow a lot of different creators who have a few different opinions on things because I like information. It's like I feed off of it a little bit, and then I can have a conversation with enough information to actually have an objective conversation. So this lady really does break it down really well, and I just wanted to give her props on that. So y'all check this out real quick.
One within the United States. The 14th Amendment has always excluded from birthright citizenships persons who were born in the United States but not subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Consistent with this understanding, the Congress has further specified through legislation that a person born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof is a national citizen of the United States birth and is generally mirroring the 14th Amendment's text. We put that right there.
All right, looks like, all right, my screen looks good. Y'all can
Among
see
the
it, right?
categories of individuals born in the United States and not subject to the jurisdiction thereof, the privilege of United States citizenship does not automatically extend to persons born in the United States. One, when that person's mother was unlawfully present in the United States and the father was not a United States citizen or lawful permanent resident at the time of said person's birth. Or two, when that person's mother's presence in the United States at the time of said person's birth was lawful but temporary.
So this is what they're talking about here is right in that particular point is they're not talking about people that were illegal border crossers. It wasn't intended for them. So that's what the White House has put out. I'm gonna let her keep talking, but if you didn't catch what just was said by the White House was the 14th Amendment wasn't intended for that. It was, we know what it was. It was Reconstruction. It was intended for the black slaves who existed in the U.S. at the time. So let's continue.
Such as but not limited to visiting the United States under the auspices of the visa waiver program or visiting as a work, student, work, or tourist visa. And the father was not a United States citizen or lawful permanent resident at the time of the person's birth. Now, what this is basically saying is that citizenship is not just based on your presence here at any given time. It is bigger than that. It is not based on you being here at this particular moment. That's what it's telling you. They're telling you that citizenship is supposed to be more than that. And I will go a step further. I would say because you have a group of people, because of the existence of ADOS in this country, you have to go further than that. You cannot have a country where a group of people fought this long and this hard. 1865 was a long time ago. 1866, 67, 68, 69. That was a long time ago. You cannot have a period where this group has fought that hard to become citizens and still are living a life where we're not fully accepted and there are still systems oppressed against us and somebody can come here and automatically get it. I would make a case that because we exist, you cannot have birthright citizenship. It should not exist because we exist. This is not a different kind of country. You have to take in context the country that you're in and the country that did this to us and has not given us the thing, because what's happened is these people
I'm gonna pause it here. I just want to thank y'all for jumping in the chat here too. Because like I said, I want everyone to understand that we're having a conversation about birthright citizenship, right? And how that would impact the black community, especially the black community that exists here, and the 14th Amendment. And what you have to understand is the provisions according to the White House don't include the black people that are here. Okay? So that's the reason why ICE isn't knocking on my door. Okay? If y'all don't understand, what she's trying to say is it was a right that was fought for by people for us. And so we're not necessarily the ones who would be in trouble or impacted by deportation. But what we are impacted by is people coming over and getting that same right by just stepping a foot over the border and dropping a baby there. So I get where there's a problem and how people feel. That makes sense. Yes, I don't like the fact that people can come over here from anywhere and get certain resources that I've been trying to find a way to for 20 years. And because I'm a citizen, I can't have access to it. So that doesn't make sense to me. You know, but we're going to get into that part of it because it could be something else. It could be something else. And that's where I think we're going to run into a very slippery slope. So let me give Yvette about 3 more minutes on here, because like I said, she's digging into it correctly, and a lot of people don't want to listen to me because I sound like I'm just talking off the cuff over here all the time, and I am. That's why it's a live show. But sometimes it's nice to hear another voice explain something in a way that maybe I couldn't, be as eloquent in saying it. Okay, so just give Yvette another minute here.
I'm a citizen,
and make sure you hit the like button, man.
That this thing wasn't
appreciate y'all
for us. Slow this down. How is it fair that this thing was intended for us and still has not been made fully what it is supposed to be. We're still not fully citizens. We're still not integrated into the wealth of America. None of that still has happened for us, and somebody else can come in and get it just because they were born here. Tell me in what world that's fair. I just want to hear it. You can tell me, but you can't lie to me. You cannot lie to me. I'm not going to do it. So this makes perfect sense, right? And one of the things that it goes on, but one of the things I kind of want to go to.
Donald J. Plump, you're right. In the chat, it's only day 4. Strap in, folks. Strap in.
And we listen. I know about
we got to. It's like the slalom out here. You're gonna have to.
I want to say I'm not a fan of legislating from the White House for anybody to say. And I do agree that there was a different court, but DACA was basically saying that you cannot do that. And I agree with that because you have a dictator if you can do that. But throw it out there, because what needs to happen is that
what needs to happen?
Democrats, everybody, you gotta stop shoehorning off ADOS. You can't keep saying this. You can't. LGBT is not the new black. Gay is not the new black.
Gay is not the new black.
Because these amendments exist, these Civil War amendments.
She said it, not me, but I'm going to quote her and say, gay is not the new black. Okay. I feel what she's saying now. I'm not going to dig too deep into that because my channel's too small right now. This channel is way too small. We can't get all the way into that. So, but she said it. I ain't say it, but she said it. Did we let people hijack our shit? I'm starting to think that. I don't know. This is just the information I'm getting. Please tell me something different.
We get to shoehorn everybody into that. You have to go to Congress and fight for what you want.
Right. Did we let them just hijack our shit?
People and groups are not fighting for things. They're just saying we're just like ADOS. We're just like, quote unquote, black people. We're not black. We're ADOS, American descendants of chattel slavery. We're not that. But they're just saying, well, we're just like them. Instead of going and fight the fight that you need to fight. So let me show you something real quick.
And I hear you in the chat there. I hear you in the chat. Seeking asylum is part of the Constitution, but that doesn't necessarily give you citizenship.
Civil War amendments, 13th, 14th, and 15th. I always remember. If you don't remember,
they just have to. They're trying to tighten that system up. We're not even going to get into that right now. This is a different conversation.
I'm not saying you ain't got, but those are yours. Those are yours. Those are mine.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go through them, shall we?
Talk to Yvette. She's saying it. Talk to Yvette.
13. Neither slavery, understand.
Hold up, man. Hold up, man. I got to pause the video for that. My man Donald J. Plump, who is my favorite troll, right, has jumped in the chat and just said that for now, it doesn't include black people, right? Let me tell you what. You would be hard-pressed to try to remove the black population from the U.S. and put it anywhere else. First of all, Africa won't take us. How you going to negotiate that deal, bro? Like, come on. Home is not right there. Mexico is the border right there. And you could just, hey, walk over there, and then you over there. You see what I'm saying? Where they going to put us at? Please, explain that. So stop with the, for now. No, that's not going to happen. Don't be riling my people up like that. Don't do that. That's not even right. Don't do that, man. You need to stop that shit. He crazy, man. Y'all got to be honest. Like, imagine that in real life. Imagine that in real play. I know too many niggas with guns that ain't with that and live in southern states where they got plenty of them. It'll be a war. Another civil war. And ain't half the people in these places ain't up for no war. That's why they're not in the military. So it's not happening, yo. In the military, mostly halfway black anyway. So what, you gonna get rid of them too and send them where? Y'all tripping, man. Get the fuck out of here with that. Y'all goofy with that. Stop. Just stop. Let me give Yvette another minute here. Yeah, I had to pause for that. I can't believe somebody's still saying that goofy shit, man. We'll go back to Africa. Nigga, please. Africa don't want us.
And two, in the context of when all this stuff happened, right? That you have to be able to understand. So go back really quick. Civil War amendments. That is the context of them. That is the resolution. Just go back to that real quick and understand that. It's yours. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude.
There you go.
Except as a punishment for crime.
Which we've already gone over this amendment.
have been duly convicted shall exist
which is where the
within
prison
the
and the
United
jail
States or
thing comes
any
in. But that's a
any
whole different
place
conversation. I'm
subject
just
to
talking
their
about this thing right
jurisdiction.
now.
Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. So we're talking about the institution of slavery right here. Civil War amendments,
get it.
institution of slavery. It's common sense that that is about us. Even if they didn't say, hey, this is just about, and that's what it should say.
Right.
It's written wrongly.
They should have been specific.
And I understand why it doesn't say that, though. Right? Because at that time, hey, we got these Negroes here. Listen, nobody, and they don't want to, listen, they
You got these Negroes here. What we going to do with these Negroes?
Listen, you can't do that no more. Civil War, no. This response, Dred Scott, no, we're not doing that no more. That's what this is in response to. Let's go to the next one. The 13th, just the context of it, the 13th Amendment was proposed by Congress on January 31st, 1865. Now, in 1865, I want you to just pause right there for just a second. Just pause right there.
Yeah, pause. Pause right there.
In
You want to pet
1865,
that dog?
nobody could have anticipated 2025 America. Nobody could have anticipated this kind of globalism.
Talk about it, Yvette.
Something that nobody could have anticipated. Though what I call not the founding fathers, the Euro founders.
There you go.
Not have anticipated.
Them guys that wrote that. Those dudes.
This thing is going to create an America that is transformed and allows the elite to take advantage of the poor both here and abroad, and allows them to cheat the very people that these amendments was written for. These amendments were for us and allows us to be cheated by them. That was not the purpose. Everything has to be understood in context. So be very wary of people who are just reading you what the law say. No. Give it to me in context. Give me the date. Tell me what it was about. Also, I'm seeing something else that's crazy. Let me tell you the other thing I'm seeing that's crazy. People keep saying, well, slaves were illegal immigrants, and the 14th Amendment was designed to protect them and the rest of illegal immigrants. Newsflash to everybody. Slavery was legal for 200 and some odd years. It was, how can you be an illegal immigrant when slavery was legal? I'm trying to figure that out. Was it illegal? No.
She right, though.
Changing things.
Yep.
We were never
Just throwing
illegal.
new numbers in
Slavery
there.
was legal. We were our ancestors were commodities.
Cattle. Exactly.
They were chattel.
There you go.
Legal chattel.
You see what I'm
That is a
saying?
special group who this was applying for. Who did? That's who. Come on now. That's
All
who
right.
it was talking to.
So I'm gonna stop that because I know Yvette's monetized, so I'm sure she's trying to monetize the video. I'm not gonna take too much of it, but she was preaching, man, and she talking that shit. Because the truth of the matter is, these are things that were put into existence for a certain group of people, and that group of people is not fighting for that shit, and then it got morphed into something else, and now because of that, when they start to shut down to something else, the trickle-down piece of it is taking over the people who stuff was initially intended for, who never truly got to benefit from it. That is real. And that's hard to swallow, pause. But that's basically what she's saying. And when I heard that, I said, you know what? I never really looked at it like that, but you know what? I just got here in the late 70s, so I didn't have nothing to do with what happened before then. But I did have something to do with what happened after that, which is why we're here in the Purge of the BS right now. So you got to understand that birthright citizenship and that whole situation does not affect the normal black population in America. So we can come off of that part of it and start to focus on the fact that, well, we have all of this citizenship. Why were all of these other people who were utilizing this same Trojan horse, so to speak, able to receive certain things that we couldn't? That's a really good question. Because we're already here not getting that. And then somebody else can come over and get something that people who are already here aren't getting. That does seem a little, if in large numbers, yeah, that's problematic. And I'm not trying to be anti anything other than anti, like, what's right. And that's not right. She said that. That's not right. for folks to be fighting for all of this stuff, and then somebody just hijacks the shit. And once they hijack it and piss everybody off with the hijack, and they decide, okay, fine, we're not going to do anything then. We're just going to stop the whole thing because we don't want to deal with this one part of it, and we can't segregate that from this without breaking some other constitutional law. You see what I'm saying? And understanding that slavery in and of itself, like I said, we've already talked about the 13th Amendment and the part that's mentioned here as far as being incarcerated or serving as a punishment for crime. So that was the replacement of slavery. But like I said, that's a whole different conversation that I've already covered on this podcast. And, you know, we'll cover it again. But today, I wanted to have the conversation about people and birthright citizenship and folks who are spreading false information online that the black population is about to be shipped somewhere. That's a total farce, and that's not how it works. But what the problem is the black population that is here has obviously not been utilizing whatever was put on the books then, and we've just become some subordinate community here that people can just hijack our shit. That's what she's saying. They just hijacked that shit, and that's what they did.